Hi guys, welcome back. My name's Chris Buckler, and as you're probably aware now, I'm running Young Entrepreneurs Week on behalf of Keller Williams and Property Tribes. Joining me today, we have Sam. Sam, thanks for joining me.
Welcome. Thanks for having me.
You run a really cool business, but before we get into that, can you tell me what attracted you to the property sector?
Property, why? Because it's a fast-moving industry, and it's quite exciting to see the seasoned and the young property entrepreneurs coming in and really accelerating their growth, whether they're in there for personal passion reasons, for example design, or whether it's financial. It's great to see everyone move so quickly within the property industry and be so enthusiastic.
Okay, brilliant. So tell me about your business and what your journeys in the last 12 months. That'd be great.
I'm 25. I incorporated a business in March 2016. It's a planning permission brand that helps property professionals gain planning permission for residential developments. Within 12 months of starting, we've had a 5-star review rating, 70% referral rate. Clients reach out from Dubai, from Germany, from Turkey. So it's quite exciting to have that type of traction.
Yeah, sure. And how do you employ anyone, or is it just yourself?
We've got a small team of 4, and it's growing. So I started the business with £300 from my previous employment. At the age of 23, I was the associate director of an architecture company. I doubled their workforce. I doubled their office spaces. I've doubled their monthly revenue. So I started the company at the age of 24, and built a small team of 4 now.
That's brilliant. So can you tell me then, this is brilliant because this is slightly unique, of your learnings from, say, the corporate world, if you like, to growing a business, finding office space, to running it for yourself. What lessons you've learned, and what if any young entrepreneurs are watching, they can take from that, whether say it's staff or premises, etc.
Yeah. I think one of the main lessons that I've learned is money management. Personally, it's in my personal life as well as business.
Yeah.
It's really money management and just knowing where everything's expenses going in, going out, and really making finances stretch. Right. I started with £300 and grew it. We've got a small team of 4, and quite a larger presence as when I first started. So it's mainly money management.
Yeah, we call it the baked bean diet here at Keller Williams. It's the upside's so great. But all of our agents are on a commission-only basis. Now, whilst they take the vast majority of their commission, for the first 3 months, it's pretty tight. We don't know bones about that. But as in the upside is absolutely incredible, right? So that's cool. So outside of business, if you like, what do you do to sharpen the sword? Do you read podcasts, all that good stuff?
I try and get as much as I can. I believe it's whether it's property, whether it's entrepreneurship or business, it's just submerging yourself and letting it become a lifestyle. So it's there's never a time where I'm not listening to or just digesting information, right? From learning from other business leaders, learning from industry professionals, podcasts, reading books. Audible, that's an entrepreneur's best friend.
Yeah.
It's just trying to expose myself to as much advice and as much expertise within the industry as I can, so I can grow and effectively invest that back into people who I'm working with, and essentially our clients as well. That's
pretty cool. And I think that's again an underlying theme for the week is constantly taking information so you can improve and push that back out. That's absolutely brilliant. Is there one book you've read that you'd say, do you know what, that's really changed my trajectory?
There's many books, but if I had to select one of them, it's most likely going to be Rob Moore's Money book. So that goes into what I said about what I've learned in terms of money management.
Yeah.
It really teaches you the history of finances and really how to create internal systems just to make sure that money's circulating around your area as much as you can.
Okay, perfect. And Sam, what would you say young people have got going for them, or young entrepreneurs, when they're going into either property industry or business in general?
It's a level playing field, because business, it hasn't got an age, right? Because but young people going into business, if you had to call it an advantage, I would say that it's having the essentially it's blind enthusiasm, which is excellent, which I try to nurture as well, which everyone should try and nurture. It's having that blind enthusiasm where you're chasing something, and it's a slight naivety, but you're relentlessly pursuing it, and you believe in the final in the final destination, right? So you enjoy the journey, and you're blindly pursuing
Enjoy the baked bean diet, right?
100%.
Okay, I like it. How about disadvantages then? So what hurdles have you come across, challenges?
The disadvantage is it goes back into saying of cut once and measure twice, right? Because especially when you're starting out as well, and there is the experience factor, but depending on how fast you grow and how quickly you submerge yourself within the experts and experienced and seasoned business professionals and entrepreneurs, it's mainly trying to do the right thing once, as opposed to because when you do it twice and you make a mistake here and there, it effectively costs. But it's all part of the learning curve, 100%. And but it's mainly if you do have the opportunity to have a mentor and so on, then that can effectively save you quite a lot of time, and it can save you quite a lot of I wouldn't necessarily call it expense, but it would be a cost.
I get that. So how did you, so you're a young entrepreneur watching this now and you're thinking, actually I want to get a mentor. Where do you start?
I definitely say first to start in your existing network. It's there's no point. It's like my dad always taught me. It's always focus on what you have before venturing out and getting something that you don't have. Right. So you focus on your existing network. You refine what you've got. You have a look at the people who've inspired you, whether it be teachers, whether it be so on, because you've built that trust. And you're first of all you're comfortable with them, and you have built that trust, so they may know someone within their network, and then you start from there.
That's absolutely brilliant. And how often do you, I presume you have a mentor or a coach?
I haven't got a mentor at the moment, but I have taken inspiration from every professional that I've met, from every person that I've met. They're not necessarily in business, but I've definitely taken inspiration and learnt something substantial from everyone that I've had a conversation with. But it's as I progress with my entrepreneurial journey, then I'm definitely open. But as of now, it's I'm grateful for the progression that I've had, and but I haven't had a mentor as of yet.
Perfect. In terms of resources, where to go? So if you're wanting to get into property, you've obviously got property tribes. Where do you go? Where do you navigate around? Are you on Facebook?
Yeah.
Are you on certain forums? Where do you go?
I mean, Property Tribe, it's a great platform to start with, and to even just be with, right? But it's as you mentioned, with the internet, you've got access to property tribes, right? So with different communities, and you create your tribe, whether that's an entrepreneur, whether that's business, whether that's a niche within property. But it all starts from the internet, and it all starts from social media. We've got the opportunity now where you can see pockets into other people's lives that you may not have the opportunity to have, right? So you have a look at Instagram and social media, you get to see a multi-millionaire property investor's lifestyle, and maybe a young person who's starting within property, they haven't got that opportunity to be exposed to that. So it goes back to your question about mentorship. In some respects, that is mentorship, because you're seeing and you're watching someone and you're taking note at your own pace. So social media gives you that opportunity to see into other people's lives and how they do things, but you take everything with a pinch of salt, and in terms of before you make any drastic decisions based on how something looks, of course, just approach them and have a chat and take from there.
Cool, thanks, Sam. So if you were to go back now and you could give your 25-year-old self, could give your 23-year-old self 3 pieces of advice, what would they be and why?
Have faith, trust your intuition, have faith and trust your intuition, expose yourself to as much networks as you can, and remain true to your core values in terms of integrity and trust, and yeah, just put yourself out there, and the right people will come to you, and you'll do great things together.
That's brilliant. You've mentioned network a couple of times, and we maybe in the series haven't covered off networking. Do you go networking? Can you tell me about what that is and what it looks like?
Networking, it's so it's going back to what I said about the looking into your existing network as well. So I haven't got the opportunity in terms of time and the luxury to actively go out and network, but I do recommend it, but I do look into my own existing network, which I've built trust, and I've got a track record within my existing network. So there is a lot of recommendation going through, and it's networked within your own clients as well. So that may work.
Right.
So I've built a 70% referral rate, and so that's building within 12 months, and that's last month was the busiest. It's threefold. It's been the busiest, and that's all thanks to the existing client network.
Yeah.
They've recommended friends. They've recommended colleagues that I've worked with. They've so everything is within your own existing network, right?
Your database is so important, right?
100%. All you have to do is look within into your existing, and there's quite a lot of golden nuggets there.
That's pretty cool. So last question for me: how do you lead generate? How do you cold contact people? I mean, they say the younger generation have got social media on the side. What effective way do you use? Yeah. What effective ways do you use?
There isn't. I've been fortunate enough to not have to cold call as much, especially now, because I've in a short space of time I've built the brand, and effectively we're only accepting a certain number of clients a month. Last month was the busiest it's been because it's through referrals, and that's the only reason why I've accepted it. But it's as mentioned, it's putting your authentic self out there and showing the world this is who I am, and this is what I can offer. And then once you've built that traction and you've got that existing network, then it's just leveraging that existing network. So as mentioned, the referral rate at the moment is 70%, and that happens by cultivating and nurturing your existing network. So I respect and I highly appreciative of our existing clients who we've developed systems with as well, right? So there's a lot of initiatives that are coming out from our existing clients. But yeah, it would be cultivating your existing network. That's
pretty cool. So in terms of customer experience, what thing do you think you do differently that really keeps those relationships alive, if you like, to get that referral rate so high?
I would say it's first knowing the distinction between, and this is something that I had to learn, no one's perfect, but it's always learning, right? It's learning the distinction between customer experience and customer service. So customer service is reactive to an issue that may come up, and you resolve it, which is excellent. But customer experience, you're focusing on before, a few steps before, right? So a customer experience, it would be really going the extra step beyond. It's not having the cab meter on, if you will, right, and just letting it run and saying, time's up, we have to go. But it's really focusing on the end result. The brand is a planning permission brand because we're focused on achieving planning permission. Before going back to what I said about accepting certain projects, we have a due diligence process of what type of clients that we accept or what type of projects, because we like to manage expectations to ensure that we can help you. If we can't help you, then we'll respectfully tell you. And if you're willing to take that risk, then we will outline those risks and we'll proceed together. But it's really it's respecting your client and respecting their project and treating it as if it's your own. Because you want a successful outcome, they should feel that you want a successful outcome, and you put those measures in place to ensure it is a successful outcome. So it's really going that extra mile beyond and making sure that we can achieve what we say that we will help you to achieve.
That's absolutely brilliant. So my mentor and coach teaches a class on the difference between customer experience and customer service in a estate agency. And my view in the UK is that we're very short-termist. We're focusing on the exchange and the next customer, but we don't treat that client as a client for life.
100%.
Like we should do. So
100%. Because the lifeline of a client is quite long, and it should be long, because if something works, then nobody would like to change it, right? So you just have to honestly show that you care, and you have to have first of all, you have to have a high level of competence. You have to keep on improving. They have to know that you're reinvesting back into their process. They have to know that you care, and you're not just there for their invoice, right? Of course, we need the invoice so the business can run, and we can effectively hire more people to help them. But it's really helping them, right? So that's what you really want to do, and we're on a mission together to help you gain planning permission.
That's brilliant. Last question for me, Sam. In 12 months' time, what does it look like?
12 months' time, I'm focusing heavily on building the team, building a stellar team at the moment, and just generating real content. So our client base, we're being very specific, very niche. Property professionals, landlords, property developers, property investors, and we're focused on content that will that's going to help their day-to-day feasibility reports, certain types of checklists that we've got coming off. We've got certain calculators for the website and so on. We've got an app brewing. So we've got quite a lot brewing, and the main focus is the goal is to help our client, right? So this content is going to fall under that umbrella.
Perfect, Sam. Sam, thanks so much for your time. Guys, great tips, I'm sure you'll agree. Stay tuned for our next episode.